Hey, everybody, what's up?
You have to do that again.
Oh, because it always cuts it off?
Yep.
Hey, everybody, what's up?
Thank you. I'm just trying to make my editing job a little easier.
You're talking about for the podcast, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Hey, everybody, we got a lot of stories, a lot of breaking news. We're going to talk for a minute about Biden canceling $10,000 of student debt. We're going to get into FBI used as a weapon, not just against Trump, but actually against real live human beings that matter in this world. So there's that. We're going to get into, bunch of important stories. So you seem like you're about to say something. I didn't.
No. Carry on.
Oh man, we are firing like a well-oiled machine right now. Welcome to Common Censored. I'm joined by Eleanor Goldfield. And yeah, we do these every Saturday at noon Eastern, starting a half hour early just for you. We did that for you, folks, and also because we needed to. But yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
All right, so we're not going to spend forever on the Biden student debt thing because I covered it in my live stream yesterday, and you have an interview coming up. We'll talk more about that, or we'll promote that a little more in a bit. But so Biden is canceling, or his administration says they are canceling $10,000 of student loan debt for those making under $125,000 a year. And let me change that awful background. And
you say that every time.
I always forget.
Okay.
Is it okay? There's a lot on my mind, man. I'm doing the best I can.
I just want to know what it says. Oh, okay.
So now I think the most important thing, and you reminded me of this yesterday, is to remember Biden created the student loan crisis. This is his own shit in the bed. He is looking at the shit in the bed and he's going, you know what? I'm going to clean up a solid quarter of that for you.
Not even.
Yeah, not even.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to spritz some lavender on the pile of shit. And for those of you who have ever tried to spritz lavender on a pile of shit, doesn't do much.
You get lavender shit is what you get.
It's kind of like in the 18th century when people wouldn't bathe. Well, not shower, but they wouldn't bathe. And instead they would just wear shit tons of perfume. And if you've ever just tried to cover up extreme body odor with perfume, what you do is you create such a nauseating blend, a potpourri of awfulness.
Right.
That it's
like the guys that just hose themselves down in Axe body spray. Ew. And they have heavy BO going on. So what you end up is a guy who just smells like ass body spray.
Yes.
That's what you end up with.
Apparently, little tidbit here for your trivia night, you could apparently smell Louis XIV from several rooms away and know that he was coming because he stank so severely of body odor and perfume.
So the stink gets there first, huh?
The stink preceded him.
The stink arrives early. And so many are saying, as is, here's the article from, besides the fact that Biden created the student loan crisis, because he is, throughout his career, throughout his entire, I believe it was 712 years in Congress, he was funded mostly by credit card companies and banks. And they told him, hey, make it impossible for people to declare bankruptcy on student loan debt. So nobody can get out of student loan debt. It just follows them and chases them around their life like the smell chased Louis XIV. And you never get out of it. And 43, I believe, million people, 43 million people are facing student loan debt in America. There's only 330 million people in America, 43 million facing student loan debt.
Yes, and a good point from Lana on this who just commented, 10,000 drop in the bucket, a half-assed measure. And for the record, no one's tax dollars are paying for this. They just subtract 10,000 from the loan balances. They could just make them zero. Exactly. And several economists have pointed out that if you did make it zero, it would actually boost the economy so much more because, hey, guess who would have money to spend on other shit other than just paying back an egregious loan that shouldn't exist in the first place? Oh, all those 43 million people would all of a sudden have some income to spend on everything from fucking food to concerts to, I don't know, the useless shit that you buy at Bed Bath & Beyond. I don't fucking know, whatever. And so all of a sudden you get a boost to the economy because people actually have spending power all of a sudden. And interestingly enough, Biden also being a fan of credit card companies is also a racist piece of shit. And there's an important race aspect to this because of course it is. It's the US. And something to note is that a report by the Roosevelt Institute found that canceling $50,000 in student loan debt per person, which is actually something that Biden had talked about, would immediately boost Black wealth by 40%. 40%. Now, imagine what would happen for Black communities if all student loan debt were canceled. And so, again, that's a very important note. And for those who are curious, the Education Data Initiative found that Black and African American college graduates owe an average of $25,000 more in student loan debt than white college graduates. So, again, a very important racial aspect to this that, of course, Biden is fucking ignoring because he's a racist.
Yes, and of course, Biden has been racist throughout his career, proudly friends with Strom Thurmond, a Dixiecrat, outwardly racist, gave the eulogy at his funeral, pro-segregation. And there's many quotes by Biden. I want to play the clip on a future live stream of someone put together a bunch of quotes of him through the years that are just clearly racist in one form or another. But another thing is there's so many like straw man bullshit arguments for people who don't want to cancel any debt, who are like, oh, this is a terrible precedent to set. One is the argument that this is going to make it more difficult for the military to get soldiers. Well, A, good. B, if you're signing up to fucking go kill people or be killed to pay for college is too expensive. It's not heroic. It's not noble. It means college is fucking too expensive. So the idea that this is a great thing we have where the economic force draft that forces people in to go kill others, that's a terrible argument that you've just put forward.
I saw a great meme on the interwebs that had a picture of Jesus, and it said, Jesus paying for everyone's sins is an affront to those who've already paid for their own. And this is, the argument that sometimes people give is like, well, I already paid off my student loan debt, so why should people have theirs forgiven? And of course, I mean, the whole Jesus thing is, it's cute or whatever, but this is fucking dumb because there would never be any forward progress if that was the idea. It would be like if a former slave said, well, I don't think slavery should be abolished because, look, I was a slave, so I think my kids should have to deal with that too. It's like, what the fuck?
Right. Every aspect of our lives.
Hey, my grandfather worked in the mines when he was 10, so I think my kid should have to work in the mines. Well, like, are you fucking dumb? Like, that
stopping sexual assault in the office. Well, that'd be like all the grandmas out there going, I was sexually assaulted in the office, so you should too. It's like there would never be any progress throughout all of our lives at any moment. And it's not stopping people from making that argument. Like, I love the workers who come out to yell at teachers for wanting better health care. Like the teachers will go on strike for better health care and they'll go, well, who are you to get health care? I don't have health care. It's like, yeah, you should want all of the peoples to get health care.
Right.
It's just amazing to hear these and these arguments are coming from the right wing, but just idiot arguments against trying to help people that are mostly struggling out there. But again, this is a drop in the bucket. It also goes to show that the president could delete get rid of these student loan debts. He's getting rid of part of them. He could get rid of all of them. He could get rid of a lot of them. This is, let's see, this is from PSL wrote an article about canceling all student debt now. And by the way, Jill Stein and the Green Party have had this policy and this plank in their campaigns for years now. And Jill Stein was mocked for it, for having it back in the past elections. And all of a sudden, Biden is doing it a little bit. He's doing a tiny percentage because guess what? He's a fucking failing, unpopular president. And someone wrote, there was a thing where, like yesterday, where someone, one of the mainstream media outlets tweeted, new poll finds Biden gets 6% boost in the polls, approval of his presidency since he announced the student loan cancellation. And someone else responded, yeah, it's funny how doing things helps your poll numbers as a president. Like if you actually do something.
And actually, I wanted to share this. I'm hijacking your computer.
And I will spend this downtime by entertaining you with the following mime routine, which is going to go over great on our podcast. I will begin now. Oh, we ran out of time.
We ran out of time. Okay. Can you screen share that thing that I just? I don't know how to do that.
Yes, but you got to talk while I'm doing it. That's not talking. That is not.
I had a voice teacher once who said that singing is just talking. So this is an interesting organization that I've been following for a little bit, and it's called the Debt Collective. And they've got kind of three main pillars: housing debt, carceral debt, and student debt. And the goal is to cancel all of it. And the point being that together, the millions of debtors in this country are powerful, and that together we have the power and the ability to push for basic human rights like free higher education and universal housing and healthcare. And so they've worked a lot on student debt, and one of the things that they're starting soon is a student debt strike. So you can find out about that on their website, but they also share a lot of important information about student debt. For instance, that, Lee already covered this, that 45 million of us are struggling with $1.8 trillion worth of student loan debt, with over 1 million people defaulting every year. And this is in line with, or this is in parallel to federal and state funding being stripped as tuition rises. So people are asked to are forced to take on more and more debt. There are incredibly, predatory interest rates. If you've ever been into like a financial aid office at a college or university, they basically just put shit in front of you. Like I remember I went into a financial aid office and they just like handed me a Sallie Mae contract, and I was like, wait, this feels uncomfortable. But it's like, it's only because. And
they're like, you're 18, you get it. You know everything there is to know about this.
Luckily, I was only 17, so I couldn't actually sign it on my own anyway. But for so many people, it's like, they might feel weird about it, but they're like, I guess, well, first of all, what are my options? And secondly, like financial aid wouldn't fuck me over like this, right? They're on my side. So
they totally make you think they're on your side.
There's so much predatory shit going on from the boardrooms to the actual fucking colleges themselves. And so this Debt Collective is one organization that's combating that and looking to pool resources and bring people together to fight this student debt debacle, I guess.
Crisis. And yeah, without getting into the heart of capitalism, I'll just say that we have a debt crisis in so many different ways in this country, and there are various ways that people are fighting to get out of them. One is the healthcare debt. There's this one site, it's called like RIP Medical Debt or RIP Health Debt. I think Medical Debt, and you can go there and you can donate like $20 and it'll end up being used to eliminate something like $200 of medical debt from other people that you don't know. So your donation is multiplied by 10 or more times in order to delete their medical debt. And the reason that happens is because medical debt is sold amongst entities to collect it, to go harass people and say, give us that money. And it's sold for pennies on the dollar. So this RIP medical debt can go and buy it up and eliminate it for far less than the actual debt. So, that is one way that you can help people get out of medical debt. But all these debts, all these debt balloons and everything, it helps keep the class structure in place. It helps make sure nobody can gain a foothold and go up the ladder. And it stops forward movement, which is hilarious because America is known as like the country where you can get rich if you just work hard enough. And I don't think that's true.
Yeah. And I saw someone in the chat was talking about not like refusing to pay. This is not about refusing to pay your student loan debt. It is about making $0 monthly payments, or as close as you can to $0 monthly payments. So, and they give options as to how to do that. They're not suggesting that people just refuse to pay, kind of like the tax evasion tactic that a lot of people use against the war machine. They're not suggesting that. They are suggesting ways to basically pay as little as you possibly can, and they offer some input as to how to do that. I had something else here. And by the way, I'm going to be talking about more of this in an interview with India Walton, who is part of Roots Action and also part of Debt Collective. And I'll be interviewing her, and that will be on Project Censored. So you can look out for that, projectcensored.org, the radio show. You can also just sign up for my my newsletter over at artkillingapathy.com, and I'll send you an email when it's up.
And also, Project Censored is a podcast as well as a radio show. So if you're one of those podcast people, you really like to just listen to your content, look up Project Censored. Eleanor often co-hosts, and it's an amazing show.
So just real quick, just to throw in some more numbers at you, but I think
7, 13, 27, 5. How'd I do?
Very well. Those are good numbers. I think I heard a prime in there. So these numbers are important when we consider the people who have student loan debt. And I think there's still this concept that these are just people who are like, nah, I don't want to pay it. And it's like, well, first of all, they shouldn't have to pay for higher education. If there are people watching this who think that you should, I would ask you to go to a different fucking country, any country really, Europe, South America, and just look around and see how much fucking higher education costs. Well, and it doesn't.
And most of these countries, it's far cheaper. In many of these countries, it's fucking free. In some of these countries, it's free even for Americans. If you go to these countries, you can often go to college for fucking free. There's a few countries like that. But all told, it's almost all very much cheaper, far cheaper. And I remember, maybe I've already told this story, so forgive me if I'm repeating myself, but I remember I did a segment on how many universities, maybe all of them, but in Venezuela is free to go to university. Oh, yeah. And I had someone put in the comment thread, Lee, you're close, but not quite. I'm in Venezuela. I go to university here, and it's not free. It costs this much. And he gave me the number of whatever the dollar's called, their Bolivarians or whatever it's called. And I went to currency converter, and it was $1 a semester. $1 a semester. It's like, well, you're a little off.
You're a little off.
It is $1.
Yeah. So just to throw into focus who the folks are who owe student loan debt. According to a Real College survey, 39% of students experienced food insecurity. 46% of students experienced housing insecurity, and 17% of students experienced houselessness. So the student loan debt, I think a lot of times people are like, oh, you have debt, whatever. But thanks to Biden and the fact that you can't declare bankruptcy, this affects your ability to even have shelter. Like the basic human right of fucking shelter is kept from you because you wanted to learn. Like that's basically what the US is saying, is that if you want to learn, you should be okay being homeless. And if you think that that's okay, you're a fucking psycho. And I can't sugarcoat that. You're a fucking psychopath.
You can't spray lavender scented oils on that. No, you can't.
No.
Also, can I just say, this is classic Eleanor. Before we started this, she was like, I'm not going to talk much about this topic. I have a podcast coming up. And then she was like, here's every number you've never heard about. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? You have everything at your fingertips.
Well, because I put a bunch of notes down for my interview, and now I'm spoiler alert, this is what my interview is going to be about. But it is an interview.
It's going to be far more, it's gonna be far more in depth than my dumb jokes. So, all right, moving on though. We got plenty more topics. We're talking about the FBI used as a weapon and much more. But we'll do like one topic, maybe two more, and then we'll just be at rumble.com/Lee Camp. So some of you are watching us on Facebook, YouTube, other platforms. In another topic or two, we will only be at rumble.com/Lee Camp, but it's free to watch there. There's no pay, there's nothing, just rumble.com/Lee Camp. And I hope you will join us there and hit subscribe over there. I'll go ahead and put the feed's already going there, so you can go watch right now. But I'll go ahead and put that in the comment thread, and we will keep it going. So shall we talk about FBI agents?
Do you want to stay on the what's it called? The education track? Talk about Missouri schools.
All right. I like that. I like that topic.
Little segue from higher education to.
I mean, I shouldn't be laughing. I find it funny, even though it's fucking horrific. But okay, let's see here. Here's what's going on in Missouri, folks. In case you thought that Missouri couldn't get more fucked up. And in many ways, because the United States is pulling farther and farther to the right, the Missouri and some of these other states are like a bellwether for where we're headed. They're like, it's like where our fascist state is going.
Yeah, which state was it that reinstated, that was going to use gas chambers to execute people?
I don't remember the gas chambers. It was either North or South Carolina. I think South Carolina just put firing squads back in and literally like built a facility for firing squads. So taxpayer dollars go to be able to shoot people. You don't hear a lot of right-wingers going, I don't want my tax dollars going to be able to shoot the bullets through the peoples. You don't hear that, but they're upset when you cancel student debt. Death by gas chamber.
The last option we have to enforce Missouri law. Look at that.
Missouri.
Missouri, you are killing it, literally.
Yeah, killing it, literally. So here it is. Missouri School District reinstates spanking students. It doesn't, when they put as a last resort, just that doesn't matter because that's their view of a last resort. You could have a teacher who really loves beating the shit out of kids, and he goes, well, I asked him once and he didn't do it. So the last resort, I slapped him across the ass. Not to mention, there's a lot of pervs out there that probably, fucking pervert teachers probably want to spank a kid.
There's so many levels of problematic with this. First of all, and it does say that, several parents said that they would be okay with I don't know if it's teachers or if they go to a special spanking room or I don't know. Whoever the fuck it is that beats the shit out of your child. There are several parents that said that they would be okay with this. And so this is the school superintendent said, quote, "The complaints that we have heard from some of our parents is they don't want their students suspended. They want another option."
As if those are the only two options. It's just, that's what we have. We have suspension from school or beating the shit out of them. What more could there be? That's, as far as I've seen, that's all there is. That's all there is.
Apparently, the punishment will only be used in reasonable form and upon the recommendation of the principal. How reasonable beating someone? That's like compassionate conservative. It's not a fucking thing. It's like it's a complete oxymoron.
I love this sentence. Parents who want their children hit can sign an opt-in form provided by the school office. Hey, welcome to the first day of school. Would you like your kid hit or not hit?
1 or 2 swings will be inflicted on younger students, and up to 3 for older students. I'm not sure what the age cutoff is there. Like, if it's your 6th birthday, is it now you get 3? I don't, like, who the fuck? But if you want to hear something even more disturbing, currently there are 19 states across the US where corporal punishment is still allowed.
19 states, you can still
the majority of these states are in the South. So if you have kids in school in the South and you're not into someone beating the shit out of your child, heads up, because that could be a thing. And for those who think, oh, well, 1 or 2 slap, that's not really that big of a deal. I have a flow chart that I found very helpful, and I hope you will too. It's called the Should I Strike My Child Comprehensive Flowchart. Question 1. Are they old enough to understand reason? Yes. Then use reason. Stop hitting your child, asshole. Are they old enough to understand reason? No. Then they're not old enough to understand the reason that you're striking them. End result, stop hitting your child, asshole.
So basically, whether the answer to the first question is yes or no, are they old enough to understand reason, still end result, stop hitting your child, asshole. And if I could just say something, it's really fascinating that it's specifically children that there's still some acceptance of this in our society. And you go back a few decades and there was a lot of acceptance of this in our society. It's really only children. Like nowadays, if you slug someone in the face at a bar, you can be prosecuted for assault. If you smack yes, people get more upset, I guess, if it's a man slapping a woman. But if you slap someone, man or woman, at a bar, you can get prosecuted for assault. If a guy were to touch a child's ass rather than slap their ass, he can be prosecuted for sex crimes. If you were to grab or touch a woman's ass, you could be prosecuted for sexual assault. But if you beat a child's ass at school, then fine. As long as you're touching it in a hard manner, sorry, forgive the expression, as long as you are not patting it gently, but instead striking it, then that's fine. Go for it. Have fun. Have at it. You might want to stretch out your triceps before you get going.
And also, I find it fascinating that people who are for the striking of their kids, if you were to ask them, do you then think it's okay that your kids strike other people? Or that you strike other people?
Only if they opt in. Only if they opt in.
Of course not. Yeah. I would never teach my kid that it's okay. But you are, you fucking idiot. By beating your child, you are showing them that the way to deal with someone who's acting in a way that they don't like, it is okay to hit them. That is an appropriate response. And I mean, that is just completely fucked up. It is, there's been so many studies done that show that beating kids is not at all, there's no benefit. There are only negatives to it. Yeah. Not only in terms of mental development, but of course, with how children feel safe in their bodies, safe in their communities. I mean, the list of reasons to not fucking do it goes beyond this very handy dandy little flow chart that I've shared with you. And yet it is an easy way to terrify a child. It is an easy way to basically intimidate them to the point that they fall in line, I guess. And of course, respect is a lot more difficult to earn than fear. Fear is relatively easy, particularly a child. You can scare a child half to death pretty easily. And so this is a way of a totalitarian way of dealing with children. And it really speaks to the way that our country looks at children and feels about children. And it's no wonder then that these children grow up to be fucked up adults. And I don't mean necessarily that every kid that's spanked grows up to beat their wives or beat their kids or whatever. But it does cause harm, and how that harm then reverberates out to society is manifold, and how that harm reverberates inwards to people who deal with extreme mental and emotional distress as adults. I mean, it's just, there's no fucking benefit. And it is horrific and horrendous that parents are allowed not only to beat their kids, but to opt in to have someone else beat their children. These people should get the shit kicked out of them, I think.
Well, I was gonna say, now, if there was an option to paddle the fuck out of some of these people that are beating children, or say your Congress member for the way they're behaving, or any of the people that approve our war crimes, then I'd be down for that. We'd have some sort of paddle line. Everybody gets one strike as the senator, walks down the line with his pants around his ankles. But instead, we're just going after children. We're just going after the ones that can't defend themselves.
Yeah, exactly, because it's easier.
Right.
It's a lot easier.
Right.
I gotta say, if I was one of these parents and I found out that somebody had been hitting my child, you'd see me on the 6 o'clock news, I swear.
I know. Imagine if it wasn't an opt-in process, which is still fucked up. But imagine if the kid just came home with a purple ass and you said, "What happened to you?" I mean, I imagine even the parents that are so-called opting into this might have a problem with that.
Dude, I can't even handle when the kid gets his blood drawn at the doctor. I lose my mind. I want to punch the nurse in the throat, even though she's doing a wonderful thing. She's checking my kid for diseases and shit, and I'm still like, oh my God, you're hurting my child. It's like a fucking animal response. I'm just like, I must protect baby.
But the restraining order is up in a few weeks, so that's a positive.
But until then, he has to take him to the doctor. So,
all right, so let's move on to the FBI. The FBI now, you notice people have only been talking about the FBI harassment of Trump, which we covered the other day. It's the people are like, oh, the FBI is being used as a weapon, and you're like, yeah, it's fucking always been used as a weapon. Yeah. That's what the FBI is. It's a fucking weapon. It terrorizes. Normally, it terrorizes non-billionaires. In this case, it's being used to terrorize a billionaire who legitimately, probably did steal classified documents. But that's kind of a side note. I don't really give a shit about the fucking ruling class. And one of them broke one of their laws. Okay, so fucking get them. But anyway, this is from the source is Popular Resistance. Great outlet. Another great outlet is radindiemedia.com, RADINDIE media.com, where we post all these articles. And almost every time you hear us reference an article, most of them have been up at radindiemedia.com if you want a cool source to go to. So the FBI has been harassing Cuban solidarity activists for delivering medical aid. I mean, this is this sounds like a sketch or something. Like, let's make fun of the FBI for doing something that they would never do. But earlier this month, right-wing Senator Marco Rubio, a hater of Cuba, publicly called for the FBI to investigate Carlos Lazo and his humanitarian aid project, Puente de Amor, for taking powdered milk and medical supplies to the island of Cuba. It seems...
Those bastards.
It seems like Marco Rubio got what he wanted, and so they're posting the statement from the Cuba Solidarity Committee of Puerto Rico, and the Cuban Institute of Friendship with the Peoples. The president of Cuba Solidarity Committee of Puerto Rico, Milagros Rivera, denounces the intimidation operation unleashed by federal agents through calls and visits to several activists. And they claimed that they were investigating the Cuba Solidarity Committee. They tried to find out details about the committee's spokesperson and the recent trip to Cuba by the brigade under the category of, quote, various types of support for the Cuban people. On its tour of the country, the brigade delivered sanitary donations to fight against COVID-19 in hospitals and engaged in cultural and educational exchanges with the people. Since early in the morning of Tuesday, August 23rd, agents who identified themselves as FBI visited over a dozen brigade members and friends in solidarity from different parts of the country, alleging an investigation into the committee, its president, and the solidarity militancy.
I have a problem with the word visited. It makes it sound like they were just coming over for a cup of tea. Like, I don't like that word.
Yeah.
Visited? No.
Yeah.
No, my
Harassed.
My friends visit me. The FBI never visits anybody.
Right. There was very little tea exchanged. No, but this just goes to show how the FBI, the U.S. government, uses them as a tool to harass activists of all stripes. And in this case, this is a group of people fucking bringing medical supplies to Cuba and, just having an exchange program, an educational exchange program. And they send FBI agents to their fucking houses to harass people. In front of their children, to scare people, to make these people think that by delivering medical supplies to Cuba, they could be arrested. And it's designed to create a chilling effect on being a good fucking human.
Right.
Like we gotta slow down this scourge of good human behavior. Mm-hmm. It's just fucking disgusting and fascist.
Indeed. And speaking of which, there were other FBI raids this time because evil Russia. I don't know if you want to share that.
Yep.
This is a piece from World Socialist website. FBI agents raid black nationalist groups' homes and offices over bogus allegations of conspiracy with Russia. I mean, yeah. So the whole Russia scary Cold War thing has obviously been amplified a lot since the U.S. started the proxy war in Ukraine. But so in late July, the FBI conducted a series of raids directed against the African People's Socialist Party, APSP, in St. Louis, Missouri, and St. Petersburg, Florida. The raids are linked to a 25-page indictment issued against Alexander Viktorovich Ionov, a Russian national accused of, quote, conspiracy to commit offense against the U.S. A loosely defined federal crime with a penalty of up to 5 years, which is hilarious because obviously they're never going to get a Russian national sent to the U.S. to atone for his crimes. So as they point out,
well, it's easy to bring charges like this just to make themselves feel good and look good because, like you said, the Russians aren't going to come to the U.S. to our court system, so no one defends them. They can just make ridiculous accusations.
Well, right, and the author of this basically says that that's really the point. It appears that, quote, the main purpose of the indictment is to justify the Biden administration's use of state repression against left-wing opponents within the U.S. Of Washington's imperialist agenda with regard to Russia. So basically, this got kicked off because these folks, APSP, had written a lot of anti-NATO. They'd organized around anti-NATO work, and apparently this guy in Russia, this Ionov, I'm sorry if I'm not fucking saying that correctly. had also done so, and they were claiming that these two were working together to, I don't know, sow dissent in the fucking U.S. or I don't know, some bullshit. And the Yeshitela, one of the organizers with APSP, said, quote, "They have accused us of taking money from Russia. We've never taken money from the Russian government. But I'm not saying that because I'm morally opposed from taking money from Russians or anyone else who wants to support the struggles for Black people. Don't tell us that we can't have friends that you don't like." Mwah. Chef's kiss. Because
don't tell us we can't have friends you don't like.
Right, because he's basically making the point that it's like, yeah, no, we didn't do this bullshit that you're accusing us of. But also, if there are some Russians that want to like support our work with anti-imperialism and, you know, Black power struggles, like, fuck yeah, we're into it. Which, yes, I mean, it's so fucking dumb. Like, anybody who wants to support the struggles for freedom, whether it be in fucking St. Louis or in Palestine, fucking throw money at them. And I don't give a shit if you have a Russian passport or a fucking I don't know, South African passport. Who gives a shit? And so these raids are conducted under the guise of national security. But of course, as they pointed out here, they exist only so that the FBI can have a very thinly veiled cover for going after left-wing folks, and like they've done, particularly with regards to Black folks, going after people who are demanding human rights and liberation and justice. So this is, you know, another example of that kind of bullshit, which, as we pointed out, the FBI has always done. It's always been a terrorist organization. So, you know, it continues on as it always has.
Right. And as I mentioned, was it yesterday or recently, studies have shown that the FBI, studies have shown that in 90-some%, it's like 97% of every time the FBI arrests someone in the United States for working with terrorists or having a terror plot or involved in a terror plot, or we're plotting to plot some terror, every time the FBI was somehow involved in it. They either had an informant in the group, they had an agent in the group. In some cases, they even helped the person get the materials because they gave them, you know, fake bomb making materials. And then they always, occasionally they fail to arrest them in time, but then they always arrest them like right before it happens, and they go, we caught a terrorist. And it helps justify their work. It helps get more money for the FBI, for Homeland Security, all that bullshit. It helps keep everyone afraid. It helps everyone think that FBI is daddy, keeping us safe from the bad monsters, all of that shit. And yet 90-some% of the time, the FBI is involved in the terror plot on American soil. Mm-hmm. So, you know, when we say they're like a terrorist organization, it's not just going after and destroying activist groups and destroying socialist groups and going after people that are friends with Cuba. It's also literally creating terror plots.
Yep.
So, folks, we are going to head over to rumble.com/Lee Camp. If you're already watching us there, nothing will change. Also, if you are not going to join us over there or whatever, then or you are, but you like what we're saying, then become a member at leecamp.net. That's where you get the member-only Q&A every Friday at noon Eastern, and other exclusive content, including exclusive columns, exclusive articles. So leecamp.net, I hope you check it out at the very least. You can become a member without even paying. I think you could click skip for now or something like that. So no matter what, I hope you head over to leecamp.net after we're done here today. But with that said, let's get on to some more stories, and let's spend
the last 15 minutes over at Rumble.
Spend the last 15 minutes at Rumble talking about capitalism. Heard of it?
Oh, wait. Hold on.
Oh, it's
damn
blurry. Sorry.
Hold on. If I got closer.
Oh, yeah, you can kind of see it. It's a man. It's a man. Well, because it's not a face. The technology is designed to blur out things that aren't
God
faces.
damn it.
Oh, now you can see it.
That's dumb. That's so dumb.
Oh wait, so
Okay.
if hold on, if you keep your face in the screen but stand up a little.
What am I? A fucking contortionist? I can't do that shit.
Okay, if you back up halfway across the room.
Stop. No.
Anyway.
It's a very cool design by Recycled Propaganda.